just like to see my own self on my device so that I can see it. All the comments they don't always pop up on the iPad, so I like to have them right here. And I haven't been feeling all that great these last few days. My birthday has been just an abysmal disaster, truly a disaster. And I was very excited to turn 50, and I don't want to say that I am like disappointed, but it's been a hard week since Monday. So now I'm just trying to get myself back into the swing of being in the studio again. And I had this little practice painting going because I was trying to train someone to help me paint, but they are busy doing other things at the moment. So anyways, I want to get it done, and it's hard to focus on the oil painting back there. Honestly, it's just been a little, yeah, I can't even talk. A little bit crazy. This guy back here is just finished, so I have a new one that I've started, but I really just got going on the values right now today, so it'll be a little bit before I can actually hit the canvas. Maybe I can start getting it onto the canvas tomorrow. We'll see how far I get with it tonight with the values mapping, but I needed to take a break. It's tedious and tiring. I probably could have started mixing the color palette though, but make sure my microphone is on. Sometimes it doesn't want to work when I plug in the iPad and the microphone at the same time. So I'll try to keep track if there are comments. Sometimes I miss them because I'm looking at my painting usually most of the time. It's not the most interesting painting I've ever done, but it's just another in the series of paintings where I use up like leftover paint to make smaller paintings, leftover paint from the big paintings. So this is kind of a mashup paint from the two previous big paintings, O Taste and See, and this one is Eye on the Prize, is what I'm calling it, because man, I have had a really hard time staying focused with my eye on the prize, I'll tell you that much. Some days that is hard to do. And this week especially. This week's been a challenge. But it's all good. I don't have to have it all figured out. So I got some, excuse me, I just ate dinner, so I got some chill vibes, and I got some Moscato here, and my painting, which again it's like mindless, but I'm just trying to get myself out of bed right now. That's to be honest. The last 2 days have been really rough. I was very, very blessed with some friends of mine spending a lot of time with me yesterday, like 3 different friends spending between the 3 of them probably 6 hours, and then my other friend who does a lot of texting with me just kind of staying in the background. And man, I don't know where I'd be without them. I used to be so like antisocial, you know, I didn't like being around people really at all. I can't say I do love it still, but as much as I've struggled this week, I don't know where I would be without some of these people in my life. So, gosh, where once I might have pushed people away, I am trying hard not to do that. Because then I just tend to like bolt, you know? I'm uncomfortable with my situation, and then I just want to like shoot off into the sunset. So I'm trying to not do that. It's tempting though. I like how this lighter gold color, I was gonna do a darker one. I thought I was gonna do like a vermilion. This is like not salmon. It's really just kind of an orange with a tiny, tiny red undertone. And I thought maybe I would do like a redder color in the other areas, but then I made up the brightest yellow for Eye on the Prize because I didn't like it. I needed it brighter, or not brighter, I needed it like whiter. So anyways, I mixed that up. And I had this from Oh Taste and See, and I was like, what if I put the two of them together? So it's kind of how this color came to be. And the other thing is, like, if I'm doing this kind of work, I can sit down, which I kind of sit over there. I never really sit over there. I don't often sit here. But a lot of times I'm standing and I put a lot of weight on my back, my feet, and I really wanted to crawl in bed. The last time I went upstairs, I passed by my bed. I don't know, it was like an hour ago, and I was just like, oh man, I want to get to bed so bad. But I thought maybe instead of going to bed, that I would try to get a little bit more done down here. I don't have to go crazy. Tomorrow's another day, and it's been a rough couple days. So whatever I feel I can do is what I'm gonna do. Whatever I try it's gonna be good. I'm not lying in bed. Wow, I shouldn't have ate right before I got on. Of course. Oh, looks like I already got some gunk on there. Man, it's so like me to do that. The finger touch up. Need another sip here, right? Yeah. Oh, I did have a drink on my birthday, actually. I went to a Mexican restaurant. My brother's birthday is the day after mine. So we went out for Mexican on my birthday because he doesn't want to wait to celebrate his birthday till his birthday. He wants to celebrate on my birthday, which I don't really blame him. So we went out. So that was nice. I had a big pina colada with what I have? Pollo fundido. Actually, I haven't had that in a long time. I usually go with enchiladas and tamales, but I was like, maybe the pollo fundido this time. It was good, but I did kind of miss my enchiladas and tamales. I'm very partial to those. I try to like force myself once in a while to order something different, and that, you know, will help me to like appreciate them more when I do have them. But then I'm always like, man, I still regret that I didn't get the other thing, you know? So I've been also thinking a lot about the Milan art course that I had signed up for and then ran into some struggles with. I feel like it's kind of cursed program because every time I try to get back into it, it feels like there's some kind of traumatic event in my life, and I get distracted. So there's a big piece of me that wants to just say screw it, and I'm just going to do my artwork and be good with it and not think I'm lesser of an artist because I'm not an oil painter, you know? I don't know. Maybe I'm just putting too high expectations on myself. I don't really know. I went through some more of the lessons today, and it's not like I don't want to try this stuff, but it is a lot, and it's a little bit overwhelming to try to learn stuff while I feel so, well, I'm struggling so much, so yeah, it's like meditative for me to do this kind of work, whereas the oil painting is definitely not meditative. I don't know how it is for anybody. I don't know how there are oil painters out there. Kudos to you guys for doing what you do, because oh my gosh, for me, I'm like, this is insane. I don't know how I find watercolors easier. Everyone says, I don't know how you find watercolors to be so easy. And I'm like, I don't know how you find oil paints to be easy. I guess once you find your medium, you find it. I'm just a water-based media girl. I like to do egg temper paints too. I should get back into those. Those would be fun to do some lives with, actually. That could be cool. I've got the powders. I haven't mixed them up in a long time, man. I'm gonna have to look into my sketchbooks and dig around and see if I still have my old egg temper recipes. Those are fun to work with. I don't know. I haven't got powders in a long time. I should go dig around. I like to mix my own. Use like the egg yolk, I think it is. I don't even remember now, but I think it's the egg yolk. Maybe vinegar? I don't remember. It's been so long. It's been that long. It's been like 10 years. So that could be a thing, you know? Those are good to do on any surface too. You don't really necessarily have to use a canvas. So that could be cool. I don't know if there's anybody here. It says one person, but I'm not really sure what that means. I don't know if it counts me as a person. Not really sure. But if there is anybody here with me, I appreciate you. And thanks for joining me on my kind of lonely Thursday here in my studio. But it's okay. I'm not really lonely. I have my art with me. So how can I be lonely, right? Art is the best company. It listens. It gives. It loves. It accepts. It understands you're not perfect. Like, you know, my artwork knows I'm gonna make mistakes on it, and it kind of like helps me work through them. I would say my artwork is very gracious to me, actually, most of the time. Maybe that's why I gravitated towards being an artist in a world where I didn't really feel maybe a ton of love, I guess. My artwork always felt like it loved me in its own way. I guess I do sort of see them as my children. I'm gonna try to get this done in in 2 coats. There's no such thing as 1 coat. Although this one here, I started with a really much lighter version of this color, and now I probably will have to give that one 3 because it's so thin. Well, this one had to have 4 coats, but it really shouldn't have. I got an extra coat on it today just to make up for how wishy-washy it was. But it's hard to learn to apply paint, you know, in the right consistency, so I don't really blame them. I just had to redo the whole thing. But that's okay. You live and you learn. I hope those are different enough. I think they are. I think so. I think so. Yeah, I wanted to be on earlier today and get to the duck painting, and oh my gosh. No. Not today. So I ended up working on this instead, which there's really nothing to record because I was just like repainting the sections that were already painted, so I didn't even want to be on a live stream because that's like not very interesting at all, which I get. It's not very interesting for me, actually. Excuse me. I recorded a Just Jenny Lee today, and I titled it, "The Road to Hell is Paved with Good Intentions." That's like a phrase that my parents said a lot when we were kids. I remember hearing that a lot, and I really appreciate it because like they didn't want to hear our intentions. My dad was a Navy dad. My dad was a Navy guy. Wasn't it? Well, I guess he was in the Navy and a dad. It could be a Navy dad. My mom's parents both worked for the Air Force their entire careers. My grandfather was the purchasing officer at Fort Castle Air Force Base out in California before it closed. President Clinton was closing bases back in the day. And my grandmother worked on the same base as like an administrative executive for like 30 years as a civilian. So there was not really a lot of room for excuses, at least for the younger, or I mean for the older kids in each generation. So like for my mom, for my dad, you know, their parents were pretty exacting. For me, and then my second youngest, you know, my brother, who's 2 years younger than me, my parents were a little bit less strict with him, but then with my youngest brother, they were really not strict with him. And that kind of happened to my mom's family too. She was like, they were exacting with her, and then, you know, a little bit less so with her younger brother. And then as they had 3 more kids, they had 5 total, like there was no rule of law for the youngest one. And it always seems like people would end up in jail. So both my brothers and my mom's youngest siblings. So fascinating to think that we don't want our parents to like be exacting in any way. We want them to like, we want to be able to rationalize with them and stuff. But in my own personal family for 2 generations, the younger kids in each cohort went to jail and the older kids didn't and were productive members of society. So at least fairly so. So I just think that's really interesting. But I think a lot of it comes from like your excuses and your intentions and your wishing you were, you know, perceived as a certain, like nobody cared. Nobody cared. They didn't really start listening to excuses until my brother Jake. And so my brother Jeremy, he's the one who's 2 years younger than me. He's a hard worker and he doesn't give excuses. He just gets up and he works. Like we're both pretty similar like that. But our youngest brother, Jacob, oh my goodness. He will probably get offended if he hears this, but he knows that he got away with murder and he had every excuse in the book. And my mom will tell you to this day, she spoiled him to death because she felt like she had been too hard on me and my brother Jeremy. And come to find out, it wasn't the worst thing in the world. Though he wasn't perfect because he still ended up going to jail too. But he turned his life around and is a hard worker. And he didn't really have excuses. He was more or less following Jacob, even though he was the younger one. So I don't know. That's just their dynamic. But in any case, he had that experience way back in his teens, and then he never had it again because he said, I ain't doing that again. And I don't blame him. So I feel bad I hadn't been able to post much content the last few days. I didn't have any content really to post. I meant to do a catch-up on my pattern. I had done some crocheting when I felt like I could. I was feeling so bad I didn't do much crocheting, but I did some. And I wanted to do an update on that, but I haven't yet, so I should probably grab that and throw it in on the end of my little vlog for today. I tried to do a little vlog today. I was trying to post nearly every day and doing pretty good at it. I had 1 week where I was not well a couple weeks ago. But some of it had to do with a similar situation, really. I was unwell, just kind of with anxiety and emotional things. But I was also physically not well, so it didn't help to be both at the same time. But at least I'm physically well now, so I can be super grateful for that. At least I feel it right now, so that's good. I wasn't really feeling it the last few days, but I knew that was just what was going, like, you know, what was going through my head and my heart. And that does cause me to feel like I cannot move. Like I feel physically in agony and pain, like there's fire in my joints as if I'm having arthritis all over my body. It's ridiculous. But I wasn't like violently throwing up or anything like I was the last time this happened a few weeks ago. So that's encouraging. Hopefully I can avoid that this time around. And hopefully I can avoid this happening again. I promised myself that for my 50th, you know, well, technically it's like your 51st year, right? It's, if you turn 50, it's your 51st year, but going into this year, that I would not let other external things steal my joy and my productivity and my creativity, because inevitably what happens every time is I just want to quit, and sometimes I do for an extended period of time, which is how I get derailed. And so my biggest battle really isn't like getting my artwork out there or getting it seen or whatever. My biggest battle is overcoming the stuff that happens in life that is so challenging that it takes away my creativity. And sometimes I feel like sometimes I feel like the individuals that perpetuate some of this stuff know that. I don't know, you know. I can't change them. I can only change myself and try to move forward in light of, you know, their inability to not do the things that cause me discomfort. So that's fine. It's good. I mean, it's not good. It's just, it is what it is. So like what I'm trying to do is just gift myself being able to get up and keep going and making art. And probably that is what this person finds the most threatening and can be hurtful about, is, you know, the idea that I'm doing that. It's probably really like discouraging to them that their impact on me isn't just devastation, and it usually is. So you know, I'm just gonna sit with it. I'm not a peach, and I'm not perfect, and I've done a lot of things wrong. So, and I don't always want to come to the realization right away, I guess. So, you know, it took me a long time, really, I feel like, to realize I was not a good mom. I wasn't an ideal mom. I was selfish, and I did not put my daughter first. I did not put her dad first, and if anything, that really changed how I felt about how my interactions with other people and my impact on people. I definitely don't ever want to put anybody through any kind of situation like that again, where I didn't understand the gravity of my decisions. And I need to not let that take the wind out of my sails. It's hard, but I need to do that. So I watched Naomi's dad somehow manage to do that in light of, you know, the struggle that he was dealing with my sort of identity crisis. And there's a lot of strength and courage in that, and I want to be able to just, you know, walk forward with courage, I guess. Everybody goes through like challenging times in their lives. They start to question themselves and their identity, and, you know, and maybe they figure it out, maybe they don't, you know, or maybe they're blaming you for things and maybe it's not you. I don't really know. So I just have to like let prayer and art and friends and support network guide me, and not try to, you know, I don't really need to do anything but be creative at this time, and that's okay. And if I don't feel like I can, I'm gonna breathe it out and take a hot bath, maybe pour a glass of wine. First things first, I usually would say some kind of prayer. At least, usually while I'm doing all that stuff, honestly. I like to keep kind of an inner dialogue going at all times if I can. I find it very grounding, honestly, because my thoughts get way far away from me. It would be easy. So the best thing I've found is just to stay grounded. I keep like finding little spots that I think are like a chunk of this or that, and it's actually like the other paint. All right, I gotta go get the other color because there's a few dots that get like splashed on the other colors sometimes. That hot water tank. I don't know if you can hear that. I think it's bam all the time. I can hear it. I know if I got on the oil painting, I would have had like a whole bunch of people on live stream, and I was actually just terrified to even have that. I was actually just like, yeah, do I even want 10 people in the room with me at this time? No, I just want to be disciplined enough to get on, do the live stream without the pressure of having to like entertain a bunch of people. To get back in the swing of it, because I'm trying to think, the last time I live streamed was, I didn't want to say it was Saturday, and I had been good about live streaming nearly daily. So things kind of devolved prior to my birthday, and so it kind of got derailed over the weekend, really. Yeah, I think this is bright enough. I don't know. I could always add a touch of yellow to it, maybe. A tiny bit. That yellow goes a long way. I had just put a tiny squirt in it earlier, and it was like, oh, so bright. I just wanted to have like a little bit of a two-tone effect, you know? So it's just a little meditative piece. This is like coloring in the coloring book for me when my brain is too tired to do these. And today and after this week, it just is. I can't. Been a rough week. I didn't expect my 50th birthday to be like womp womp. So, not that I'm not happy to be 50. I'm tickled pink I made it this far. So, my brain is just hurting tonight and tired because it's been a tough week. But art still has to be made, you know, and life still has to be lived, so I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna try anyways. I get easily anxious and panic attacks and depressed, and then like all the typical artist things, you know. Of course, but I can be pretty even keel. I can be. It's not that I can't be, but sometimes external things like shake me up a little bit. So that's where I'm at this week. I know it kind of sucks. I was so excited because my like subscriber number had jumped really like a good amount, and I was getting excited. I thought, oh wow, I'm gonna try to hit like 500 subscribers by the end of February for my 50th birthday, and then this week happened, and I was like, oh, I don't know. So whatever. Maybe I'll still have 400 by the end of February, and that is still a noble goal. I was excited that I hit 300 at the end of January, so if I hit 100 a month, that's too much. 50 a month. I could still be at 1,000 by the end of like a year. It's kind of slow growth though. And this is kind of slow going. it's not the most exciting painting. Again, I'm really sorry. I'm actually just doing this for my mental health, so that I stay sane here. It's meditative, it's prayerful, it's what, you know, it's peaceful. So I do kind of consider it cheating, but it brings me to my happy place. And I can smile and feel joy and not be depressed, and I'm very grateful for that. My art is a gift to me. And like on dark days, I can just come into the studio. I say like turn it on. That's because I have a ton of lights in here. Just right at the table, 1, 2, 3. But that one has like 4 on it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then there's like this 5-point light here. That's 15. And then there's 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. There's like 25 or 30 lights. Oh, there's 3 there. So there's like 30 lights in here. So when I say turn on the studio, I have to come turn on all the lights. And I turn on the space heater and I plug in, excuse me, and I plug in the twinkle lights, and then I give it a few minutes, and it's just this really magical place with its art hanging everywhere and the orange walls and the lights, and it's just a happy place. Whenever people walk into my studio, they're like, can I live here? And it always looks a little different when I relocate it, which I've done over the years several times, but it kind of still has like the same vibes. So even if I up and move it to another place, if you walked in, you'd probably be like, oh yeah, this is Jen's studio for sure. Just my style alone, probably. I don't know. This isn't really a style, but it kind of fits in to the other style. I do now wonder if I should have made this lighter. I'm almost wondering if I like that lightened version better, and if this is too heavy-handed. I don't know. It can be lightened before the second coat, which may happen. Now that I'm seeing it, I thought this was a mistake, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm always second guessing my color choices and tweaking them constantly. It's probably why it takes me as long as it does. Because half the time I can't really figure out what color I actually want to use. And even when I paint out several spaces, I'm like, no, that's not good. I don't like that. So I'm kind of wondering if that's what I should have done. No big deal. The second coat goes down pretty easily. I'm hoping I haven't missed anybody's comments. Sometimes the comments come up and I can't see them because I don't have my glasses on. So that's because I can see when I'm painting, but I can't see the tiny little font on the phone. I can't see it with my, I have to get like really close to it. And then it doesn't always like pop up on the screen. When I log off, it'll say, oh, you had, I don't know, 12 comments. And I'm like, what? I didn't even see any comments. So that has happened to me before. But I get into doing this, and I don't know if the comments disappear maybe. I don't really know. On TikTok, you get like a log of your, or you get the transcript of your comments. I haven't seen that on YouTube yet. So I'm still learning about the live stream system on YouTube. But I do like being on YouTube better than the other platforms by a long shot. So it took me a long time to decide to convert to YouTube, because I've been on the other platforms for like a while. But I didn't really love them. I just sort of I felt obligated, I guess, you know, if you're an artist, how are you gonna like get by if you don't post on social media? But I don't know, I just never felt like there was any point to it. It felt very like stuck, I guess. And then I started to realize like all these platforms were basically trying to get you to pay to push your stuff and all that, and it was just like, it felt like a racket. So I got disheartened for a while, and then eventually I decided to try YouTube. And I didn't really understand it, so it took me a while before I started actually like digging into posting. But I started to last year in the springtime. And again, with the like overwhelming anxiety and discouragement and all that, and I just froze up and I thought, I can't do this. This is too hard. There's too much. It's like it's overwhelming. The editing's overwhelming. All that stuff. But I feel a little differently now because of the Scarf Saga series that I started in December that I didn't even know I was going to put on YouTube, but I ended up doing it, and people started like noticing a little traction here and there, and I was like, that's weird. That's weird because like I'm posting this stuff on TikTok and Instagram and whatever, and I'm like still losing like a follower a day or whatever, but I'm posting stuff on YouTube, and with my little Scarf Saga series, the first one, I get like 25 subscribers. I'm like, that's interesting. I need to dig into YouTube a little bit. And so I did, and I was like, oh my gosh, I've been really barking up the wrong tree this whole time. So I only use the Instagram and Facebook platform. I don't even use TikTok anymore, honestly. It's such a waste. So yeah, the other two, it's just really, I just put little bits on there to like point people here, because once I realized like YouTube is where it's at, then I just kind of quit doing the other platforms for the most part. Like I don't do lives on any other platforms anymore. So this is my home now. I'm a convert, full on. I wish I had done it 10 years ago. I was on the internet before YouTube was even a thing. Back in the day when you had telnet chat rooms and everything looked like a DOS screen. You didn't have like icons and stuff. Like before Windows, because I'm 50, so. Naomi's dad was a computer programmer, and when he got his first computer, it had, I think, 16 megabytes of RAM, and that was like amazing. That was amazing. It was like $2,400 for this computer. The specs on it are laughable because your phone is like puts it to shame by 100 times at least. But that was what you had back in the day. He had a Commodore 64 actually. So we would play Leisure Suit Larry. Yeah, that was like our risky computer days. And we ran a chat room called Ballpark. And we were like, I don't know how to describe it, but you'd like log on and you'd be like in the main room. And then there were like other rooms that you'd go in, like talk to people. They'd be like private rooms or like public rooms that were off the main room. And you could go have like conversations with, groups of people or whatever. But yeah, it was just a really interesting time. Almost was like 80s, but it wasn't. It was really mid 90s. Early to mid 90s, you'd be like telnetting to places. And there were all different chat rooms. They were all like themed. Naomi's dad really liked baseball, so ours was ballpark themed. So if like someone was bad, we would have like little things like you're out, and you would get like thrown out of the chat. We even made friends like online, and you couldn't send pictures. It was literally white text on a big black blank screen, just text. And you didn't go by your names. You used like monikers and stuff, aliases. So I remember like making friends with this girl named Bubbles. Like that's what she went by, Bubbles. And we became good friends, and I drove all the way down to Virginia Tech from upstate New York to meet her and her boyfriend Michael. And I can't actually remember her name, but I remember his name was Michael because that was part of his name. So yeah, really, really interesting times. And you didn't have like GPS, you had triptychs from AAA. So yeah, those were the days. Imagine what life would be like without a cell phone. I don't even know. I wouldn't mind it, and at the same time, I don't know how you'd get by, really. Although people live off grid. I'm not capable of doing that really independently, though, unfortunately, at this time in my life. I almost feel like this is the better color. Okay, I'm not showing it to you. It's right there. I thought it was too light, and I went with a darker version, and I think it's too dark, so I think I'm gonna have to lighten it up. Of course I would. What else is new? If I could get the first coat down on this, I would be really happy. Then I might actually just go curl in bed, because why not? I have my crochet in. I finished up the back panel of my pattern that I'm writing, and I started on one of the front panels, so I could just load up some YouTube and go for it. I think my latest binge, I think, is called Our Island Life, and it's this very cute couple that, like, if I could like say I want that to be my life, oh my gosh, they're the cutest couple. They're so sweet, and they live off grid on an island in Indonesia. Just their relationship alone I want, but you know, they have this amazing house that they've built in the islands, but they have to work hard to survive. They have to like fish regularly. You know, they don't have stores there. They don't have restaurants. It's very, very, very off grid. You have to get to it by boat, and even any kind of store is not even on their island. They have to go to another island, and the ferry only delivers the stuff once a week, so you can only go once a week. It's just crazy. But that's been my little binge lately. Sometimes I have stuff playing in the background when I'm painting and I don't feel like being on a live stream, like I was doing earlier when I was working on the next coats of the other colors. But I thought, well, I'm gonna paint white. If I'm gonna paint the white of the canvas, that might be live stream worthy, maybe, I don't know. It's time lapse worthy, that's for sure. Which I'm hoping I'm catching. My phone's up there, it's plugged in. I haven't got up and checked it though. Kind of goes over the edge in a weird way. Not sure what I was thinking when I drew that, but I was not thinking of edges of canvases, that's for sure. All right, there we go. All right, I only have to come around the side. I know that that's a better color. It really is. That's okay, because the darker color acts like as a good primer for the lighter color anyway, so. I almost painted over that right at the starting gate, and I didn't. I felt like maybe I shouldn't. Well, now I'm glad I didn't, because I actually think it is the better color. All right, one more side to go. Sorry, I don't have any companion to converse with today, unfortunately. So, unless I'm thinking of something to talk about, I'm being a little bit quiet just because, like I said, been a little bit crazy this week, and I'm just feeling kind of meh. Now I'm almost disappointed that I worked on this that I made this so dark, but because I don't get the satisfaction then of stepping back and having it look the way I want it to after the first coat. And that is gratifying to like, look at that. That first coat is a great first coat, you know? And I should have gone with that. That was really the ideal color. I just need to add some white basically. So it won't be a big deal. Oops, I need to stay in the lines though. This is very much a stay in the lines kind of job, which is not exactly the same type of thing as my other paintings, but there is still an element of that. With my watercolors, I definitely have where I paint in like large areas with water, and then I drop pigment into it. So that is kind of a stay in the line sort of thing. But then the pigment does whatever it wants inside the water field. So my hope is to maybe start working on those again. Because honestly, the oil painting is just getting on my nerves, and I just want to get back to like a familiar medium, and maybe just one that I don't feel obligated to work on. So I think that's like for me art. Oh, thank you. Yes, totally happy accidents, right? Yeah, so I forgot what I was saying. Forgive me, I do that a lot too. I chat and then I'm like, what was I talking about? I have no idea. Talking about trying to finish this painting. Oh, and getting, that's right, I'm sorry. Getting back into watercolors. Yes, I'm going to get back into watercolors. That is the goal. Actually, I don't even have any out, so maybe I will show some off tomorrow. That would be cool. I've got a couple sitting here, so maybe what I'll do is I'll make a little teaser video saying, hey, I'm going to be putting these on Livestream because people love my watercolors. They're big, huge flowers and stuff, bright, bold colors. And that's always what I get hired to teach. Everyone loves my watercolors. It's not that I don't love them. I just don't like to only do the same thing over and over again. I get bored with it. But it's definitely time to pull those out in the live stream because I think people will love them. And I love them, so. Watercolors are my friends. Almost done. So this one I'm like going around the edges. Oh, you're just learning about it. I will grab one here in a second when I finish this space. I've got one right nearby, and I can show you what I do. Hang on one second. I've got like a baby hosta that I did. I don't know if that's, it should be nearby. And then I've got a rose, and I think those are the two that I have nearby. Most of them that get framed and either hung in my house or sold or something, but I have, I think, 2 in the studio right now. And then one that I started working on. So I just need to pick it back up. Well, there's a couple that I haven't finished, actually. That's not really true that there's one. There is another one or 2 that I really just put down and I didn't pick up. And so this year I want to actually like finish all of the watercolor paintings that I have done, like started and then put down. That's my goal. Let me see if I can grab a watercolor for y'all to see. Give me a second. I think, I have so much artwork in my house that it's actually hard for me to find it all the time. I don't see it there. I've got a rose one over here though, so maybe this one will work. Here we go. This one is like needing to be reassembled in its frame. But it's like I took it out of the frame to photograph it and then I didn't put it back together. But anyways, this one, here we go. This is one of my watercolors. In fact, this was actually the first one that I ever did. So when I did this painting, I was like, oh my goodness, I'm a watercolor artist. And I love doing watercolors. But I felt guilty because I didn't paint oils, and I felt like you had to paint oils in order to be an artist. And so, I don't know, a big piece of me wants to say like, hey, you're not obligated to paint any one particular medium or subject matter. If you love watercolors and that's what your heart is, then do that. So, yeah, I think that's my goal, is to get back into those and to not be stressing myself out over trying to learn oil paints. They are so different than watercolors. Oh my gosh. Thank you. Thank you so much. They're the opposite of each other. And so like my brain is wrapped around you know, things like acrylics and I can do the oils, but like, am I enjoying it? Does it bring me joy? Gosh, I don't know. You know what brings me joy? A sip of Moscato. Like I said, worst birthday week ever. It's okay. I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make art. I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make YouTube my life here. I'm gonna make it to 1,000 subscribers, and I'm going to go full on in this. I wish I had started a long time ago, but I'm really glad that I'm starting now. I don't feel like I'll ever have to go back into a classroom and teach if I can get my little YouTube channel going. So that's my goal. And I think the watercolors people will love, love, love. So what I need to do is I need to go around my house where I have the ones that I still have hanging and like do a little reel of all the ones I have. There are several that I don't have because they've sold. And then I don't exclusively do watercolors. I do like colored pencils, I do pastels, I do acrylics. So what I want to do is focus on the watercolor teaching aspect because I didn't really understand that YouTube is like ideal for teaching. I know that sounds really stupid, but I didn't. So I was trying to do that on other platforms, and the other platforms, I just, after a few years, I just got so discouraged. They're really hard to interact with people on. So, no more. No more. This is my home now. And I feel like it enveloped me. So, I love it. I shouldn't have been so stinking biased. Just a couple more spots and I'll have the first coat of this color done. And then I may just go soak in a tub for a bit, so I hope you don't mind. I'm gonna pick up my crochet and I'm gonna console myself with a little bit of YouTube. I'm super grateful I got in the studio for as many hours as I did today, even though I wasn't feeling it. So it's better than what I did yesterday, which, well, yesterday I was with friends helping me through a rough day. The day before, I was mostly in bed the whole day. I would have stayed in bed all day today if I didn't have the studio, so I'm so grateful for it. It's probably more watery, I can't talk, than I want. So when I add a little bit of white, it'll make it a little bit more opaque anyway, so that's not a bad thing. But I definitely think it dries darker than I wanted to, just by a little bit. Oh, yeah, crochet is like so meditative to me. Oh my gosh, I love that because I can take it like in the car if I'm being a passenger princess. You know, if I go to someone's house, I had it at my friend's house last night where I was hanging out for the evening. Like, it's just kind of always with me. And then at night when I'm decompressing, it's always nice if I'm not well and I just don't feel like making art. I find it very meditative. So I do feel like that needs to have some white added. I almost want to just grab it now and do it. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. This is where I come to calm myself down from the anxiety that I suffer, because I have really bad panic attacks, bad panic disorder. And so I'm actually on, I feel embarrassed to say it, but I'm actually on disability for severe panic attacks, and they're very, very severe. So without like going too crazy, I created like a haven for myself that would not be overstimulating, but at the same time you can see all the stuff around me. It would look overstimulating maybe if you weren't familiar with the things in here, but like all the things in here are like things that I find comforting or that bring me good memories or that I find inspiring. And so I tend to surround myself with things that would help to like ground me and, you know, remind me that I'm safe and that I'm okay. Sometimes I don't feel that way, sometimes more than not. So if I can come into this space, I can have that, and it's definitely therapeutic. Yeah, it's not been easy these last few weeks, honestly, and this has been a very therapeutic environment to be in. I'm gonna add some white. I think that would benefit like a big tub of white. I don't like to be stingy with paint, so I just buy it in bulk. Little tubes don't go very far. All right, I do like this color better. This is almost too like dense. It just needs to be brighter. My initial inclination was more accurate, but that's okay. Let's see what we get. All right. Ooh, that white, see how runny that orange is? That white is like standing up in it, like it doesn't know what to do. Oh, that's probably not enough even. All right. Sometimes white just gets absorbed by the paint and kind of disappears. This doesn't know what to do with this runny paint. It's like, how do I mix up with that? My goodness, I feel like I'm trying to mix cold butter into pancake batter is what it seems like. It does seem like that. Yeah, that got really translucent and runny. So that's not a good plan. I do need some more white in that. That's still quite dark actually. Let's see. A little bit more. Let's see if I can get it to thicken up a little bit. Cause like this is almost like, you know, when you do heavy whipping cream and it forms like stiff peaks, it's almost like that, and that's runny. Like watery, I don't know, pudding maybe? Like gravy? Oh, it's like, you know what it is? It's like if you made a cheese sauce, like Velveeta. So this one's like cheese sauce, and this one's like stiff peaks here. They don't know how to be friends. Yeah, this is like, it looks like cheese sauce. Cheese whiz. That's what I feel like I'm working with right now. Cheese whiz. I feel tempted to go get some crackers, honestly. Now you're hungry. Yeah, right? Oh, man. Exactly. I had my shepherd's pie for dinner. That was pretty good. I cook in bulk usually, so I still have a little bit of stuff that I'm going through. I try to prolong cooking as long as I can, so I have as many days in the studio as possible. Alrighty, that looks better. Sort of. It's still kind of chunky. I really needed to get it incorporated here. I think that's better. I'm gonna see what I think once I get it on the canvas. Might be a striking difference. The other one is too runny or too thin. It's too translucent. That's the word I'm looking for. Translucent. I gotta try to find my English here. The way I'm panting, you'd think I was doing a workout. All right, that seems okay, I guess. It's like the color of bananas, maybe. Give it a little spritz so it doesn't dry out on me. It's not running for spritz. There we go. This plastic is like gross and used and nasty. I just use it to like keep the paint sort of moist while I'm using it. All right. One more sip. I was only going to do one coat, but I'm inspired to work on the second coat, so if it's really boring to watch, I don't blame you for... Oh yeah, I have done a cooking video. Actually, I did a couple. I did a really long, like 6-hour-long live stream with my husband for our bulk cooking day, and then I made a chicken salad with leftover stuff, like leftover rotisserie chicken, a few other things. And I felt silly doing both of those things. I actually felt ridiculous, not gonna lie. But the videos have gotten more response than a lot of my other videos that I posted. So that was like, that's interesting, right? So I was like, I don't have the professional kitchen setup that people have. I don't have the lighting, I don't have the cameras, I don't have the microphones. I don't have any of that. I just have me and my iPad and, you know, a little bit of editing software and a few ring lights, and that's what I got. So if people respond to those videos, I think that's really funny, because I'm mostly what I call like a kitchen sink cooker, where I just use basically what I have to make recipes that are kind of, you know, well known. So if I'm making chili, I'm throwing everything but the kitchen sink in there, you know. I don't have like a chili recipe, for example. If I'm making frittata, I'm throwing in there what I got. I'm not making, like, I don't have a frittata recipe in my head, you know what I mean? So that's kind of how I cook. So everything's different, and, you know, just kind of a lot of leftovers repurposed, and I don't know, frugal cooking that tastes really good and is satisfying and homemade is kind of what I like to do. I like to work on a budget, and so bulk cooking and budget cooking are sort of my thing. I love to bulk cook, actually. It's kind of like Thanksgiving Day every other week, but I really like doing it, and then you have amazing good food, and then if you feel like going out, you don't really want to, because you're like, wow, I could just make smash burgers at home and they would be much better, you know? And I could, you know, make lasagna at home and have it for a few days. And I can make a shepherd's pie and I have it for a few days. So I cook a couple different big type comfort meals and soups and maybe a couple different like sides. And then we just dig in for the week or 10 days or whatever it is that we have it for. And sometimes we freeze some of it because, you know, we may have more than we need. And we can dig into it later. So like I'll freeze not individual servings, but like double servings. And yeah, so that gives me more time in the studio and more time to just do other things. So we tend to do like a bulk cooking if possible. And sometimes I don't feel like it because I don't eat that much and I'm just like, screw it, I don't really care. And, you know, I just kind of scrape by with cheese and crackers and grapes, and I can do that for a week sometimes at a shop, you know. It just depends. It just depends what we're doing. I like that color so much better. So much better. The other color is not good. I'm going to try one of the spaces in here so I can get like another point of comparison. I think it pops a lot better. And like I said, that color underneath is just kind of a good primer color, really. But it definitely needed to be this more opaque, brighter color. I say brighter, it's almost like a tone down, but it's lighter. I always think of bright as like vivid. So I don't know if you'd call this more vivid because it has more white. But, oh yeah. Oh, thank you. I'm glad that you think so. Oh, I guess you're right about the homemade cooking videos. But there are some people out there that have like really professional effects where they're like, you're watching, the food slides in, and then the next thing, and then and I'm like, I'm not doing any of that stuff. No, if people like to watch me make my chicken salad, I'll set my iPad up and I'll just go through that, and that's, you know, you can watch that. But yeah, there are some people, I felt nervous and kind of stupid to put up the cooking videos because people's videos are amazing. I'm inspired by some of the videos I see, and at the same time I think like, gosh, I don't like it's not my heart to put effort into, you know, crazy edited videos. I just want to like make art and kind of post simply edited videos about that, because man, I can take up a ton of time editing stuff and working on stuff that nobody cares about, and that's so stressful because then I would just rather make art, you know what I mean? I definitely think this is a better color. I'll be excited to dig into the next large scale acrylic because when it's so funny. They're so tedious and they're arduous, and I'm like, oh, I can't wait till this painting is done. And then as soon as it's done, I'm like, I can't wait till it gets to the next one. And I've already got it going. I've got the value study going, and I don't know if I'll get it on the canvas tomorrow. We'll see. Tomorrow's Friday. Am I going anywhere tomorrow? Maybe. I'm not sure. Tomorrow evening, possibly. So I could have the whole day. So it's possible. It's possible I could be doing that tomorrow. But then I tell myself, finish the duck painting. Just do it. I know you don't want to, but do it. Why am I trying to take a course at this age to learn some new medium that I don't know. I'm not sure why I did that. I'm just wondering if, you know, maybe I was at a point in my life where I was unhappy or not satisfied. I don't really know. I'm not really sure. I felt like I was going through a midlife crisis at the time, and then my best friend passed away unexpectedly, and then I definitely felt like I was going through a midlife crisis. So I feel like every time I've tried to get back into this course for this oil painting, I just like get derailed and I get discouraged. I'm like, oh man, I don't know. I don't know if it's worth it. I'm not sure. I'm still thinking about it. And while I'm thinking about it, I'm happily coloring in my lines because it's just, I don't know what to think about it. Well, I'd love to know if you're an artist or where you're from and that sort of thing. I don't know if it will let me go check out your page. Channel activity, go to channel. Looks like I can go to your channel. Oh, you don't have any content. All right. If you did, I would subscribe. It's nice having you here, though. I really appreciate it. Let me see if I can make this big again. Oh, there we go. Here we go. So you're just an observer. That's awesome. I was for a little bit too. And then I just thought, you know what? Instead of teaching in classrooms and trying to carry my art around the world, it feels like sometimes like when you're toting it all over the place to galleries and all this, I'm like, I'm just gonna start doing it out of my house. Everybody else says, everyone got used to doing it during COVID. I didn't do that during COVID. I was too busy wasting away on job sites trying to run a refinishing business with my husband, and it was a terrible nightmare. I'm glad I'm not doing that anymore. I mean, there are times when I miss working with him, but mostly it was just very stressful, and we grew to kind of not like each other doing that, so I'm glad that we're not. Although at times I'm sad because, like I said, there was definitely times when I loved working with him, like a lot. But then at the same time, we ended up like not really being friends anymore, so that was tough, and we still struggle with it. So I have hope that we will recover from the business life and move on into a happier space. I definitely think so. It's just still something that we're like trying to get over. So, which is unfortunate, but what are you gonna do? They say you should not go into business with your friend, right? Because what will happen? It will end the friendship. Well, it's funny because he was in business with his like best friend, and within a year it like ruined their friendship beyond repair. And then he and I took our we split off. We did our own business, and after like 4 years, you know, I felt like he and I really weren't friends anymore either. So I thought, wow, there's a lot of truth to that statement. A lifelong learner. Oh, I love that. Oh, wonderful. That's great. I write some too, actually. I've done like poetry and I've started, you know, many, many things. And lately I've done like some composing and arranging like music, play the keys. So that's always a creative outlet for me as well. It's both like creative and musical. Definitely hits like all the notes, you know, no pun intended, but yes, that hits like all the high notes to be playing the keys. That's been a real joy in my life. I only started really playing not too long ago, but I just got very naturally adapted to the, to playing with like chords and like alongside like guitar tab music and stuff. And I just got proficient enough to be able to even compose some things and stuff. So that's been fun. Mostly just an artist, but a lifelong learner too. I have like several degrees because of course I was not satisfied with just being an artist. I had the art degree and then I had to go back to school for psychology. And then I was like, let me get a nursing degree. And I was like, I hate nursing. I never want to be a nurse. The clinicals like freaked me out. I don't like to get that close to people. I don't know what made me think to do that. But my mom has been a nurse for like 32 years now. So I was like, oh, I want to do that. Well, I didn't want to do that. So then I thought, well, I want to be like maybe a psych nurse practitioner. So then I went and got a master's in mental health counseling and working with crazy people. Not good for artists. And I say crazy and it sounds mean and it sounds derogatory and it sounds hateful, but I was working with literally criminally insane people that would get brought into our unit in handcuffs and then released and then here you go. You know, we were like holding down people every single day, administering IMs, which are like injections to make people like calm down and stuff. And they have to be held down. They're not like agreeable to it. So I've been attacked several times on the one unit I was working on, and they moved me to another unit that had children, but it actually was mixed somehow because I don't know, it was offshoot of the ER, so it was like mixed population between adults and kids, which was really bizarre. And it was a locked unit, and it was locked like from the outside or something, I forget, but it was terrifying to work there. And eventually I just was having so many panic attacks that I couldn't even, like, I would get to the parking lot of the hospital and I would just start to like shake and have a meltdown. Because I'm not a very big person. I'm 5 feet tall, like 120 pounds. And so when you have a giant man attacking you, it's pretty intimidating. And eventually I couldn't do it because the hospital did not really provide safety measures for us. So I had to get out of that line of work. So unfortunately, that didn't work out, but it put me back in the studio. So I guess that's a good thing, right? Because that's really my first love. That's really what I've been my whole life. So, because I sold my first painting when I was 19, and that's kind of like a rush, you know what I mean? Oh yeah, nursing is terrible. I feel so bad for my mom. She just turned 69, I think, or 70. No, 69. I forget. But anyways, and she's still working full time as a nurse with like no end in sight. So I feel bad for her because she's tired and it's hard work, and you know, really, ideally, it would be awesome if she was retired at this point in her life, but unfortunately, just financially, you know, their decisions weren't maybe the best over the course of their lifetime, and so they're not set up for that. They can't do that right now, so she just keeps working away. My dad's on disability because he had a heart attack, so she is the primary breadwinner in their household, but she's got to work her butt off, and the work is not easy. And the interesting thing for her at this point is she gets to work with people who are a lot younger than her, and a lot of times her bosses are like half her age, you know, so I feel bad for her. She works very hard. Excuse me. I have a frog in my throat tonight and I feel embarrassed about it, but I can't do anything about it. It is what it is. I maybe want a slightly smaller brush. I'm not sure. I hate trying to squeeze one brush into every space. Although this one's doing pretty good. This is a size 3. Pretty versatile. I'm not sure the second coat's gonna do it though. I feel like I can see how bright this one is with 2 coats of this color. And if I'd started with this color, it'd probably be enough. But that dark color is pretty freaking dark, so. The bummer is I will probably still have to do 3 freaking coats. Not cool. It's my fault too. I had the right color. What are you gonna do? Cry about it, right? It definitely needs to be brightened up. So I have no doubts that was the right choice. Yeah. Oh yeah. Isn't that so bizarre when you go to the doctor and you're like, can you even drive? Really? Like, I know I'm 50, but you look 12. Like, legit 12. I guess that's when you know that you're not, young anymore. Is like the people who are taking care of you, you feel terrified for your life because of how young they look. I like going to visit my friend Pat in Florida. She lives in a 55+ community. And so, like, when I go visit there, I'm the baby. And it's great, They're all, like, septuagenarian and up. And they're like college students with money, basically. They don't really have anywhere to be. They don't have anywhere to go. They have money. So all the happy hour down there starts at like 11 o'clock. And they're all just like, 10 o'clock in the morning. They're outside. It's happy hour. Then, then it's second happy hour. Then it's third, first last call, second last call, third last call. Then we're gonna go to lunch to the down to the Mexican restaurant. We're gonna get a happy hour down there, and it never stops. And I think to myself, well, this explains why y'all are in bed by like 7 or 8 o'clock. This explains it. This explains it. That would be where I'd be right now if I could be, because I'm in upstate New York, where it has been a bitter, frozen, horrible, cold year, and I've hated it. I think it contributes to my hubby having terrible depression, and it is just, it's tough on us, really. It's been a brutal year. He's had a lot of hard extra work. He's had to deal with the driveway, which is huge, and we get like a foot of snow at a shot once a week, and he's got to maintain it and manage it and shovel and plow. And even when there's not a foot of snow, we had a couple inches this morning or overnight, and he had to get up and take care of it. And he's 55, and I know he's just tired of doing it. He's just over it. So I think he's been actually depressed this winter, and I have wanted to like get down and visit Florida or something. So, but it's been cold down there, so there's really no point going at this time, So maybe when it warms up down there some. Well, I'm glad you came and hung out, because I might have only done the 1 coat, but you've inspired me to stay and do a little bit more. I've had a depressing week, so I'm talking about him being depressed. I've been depressed, so. Usually I do okay, but I think his depression got to me over my birthday, so that was a little challenging to deal with. I think we all just need a good trip to Florida with a pina colada and some sand and sun, and probably that would make everybody a little bit happier. It sucks to have your birthday in February. It's never, upstate New York is never nice in February. If it's not snowing and sleeting and 20 below zero, it's raining, and raining on like snow and slush, and everything's disgusting. I've literally never had a nice birthday. They all suck. Yeah, right? For sure. Yeah, that's always dangerous. Spring break is not my favorite time of year, for sure. I usually, if I do travel down south, which I usually do, in the spring, at least once, just so I don't lose my mind, I'm always checking the spring break calendars, because, yeah, no, that's not my jam. I'm a low-key person, and I don't like to feel overwhelmed. Like, I like to travel, but I like my solitude, you know what I mean? So I really don't mind being in the studio all day, every day by myself. It doesn't really bother me. But I do like to travel, and I like to get around people, but I don't like to feel like oppressed by the crowd. So it's not really, I'm not really into ever going to places like Disneyland, World, whatever, New York City, and that sort of thing. That doesn't really appeal to me. I want to go to places that feel more desolate. So we were thinking, you know, anyways, we were thinking, we'll see what happens, but we were thinking of going over to like the Panhandle area of Florida, because it's a lot lesser populated, though I normally visit the East Coast, but we were thinking of going up towards the Panhandle, but not all the way up into it, and just checking out some of those areas down there. I do plan on moving there one day. It is very much in my heart to do that. Oh yeah, I don't like being out and about. Being around people drains me. People are energy suckers, you know? And instead of like coming up with their own energy that they can like use to get by, they want to suck the energy of the people around them. And it just exhausts me. So generally speaking, I like to be around people for a little while, and then I've got to come home and completely decompress. I just find it very overwhelming. Especially if there's like noise and stuff. So like, I don't know, I'm trying to think. If you go to like a restaurant, sometimes they're so noisy with all the music and all that. When we went out to Mexican, my brother has his birthday the day after mine, so we went out to Mexican on my birthday, and they had like, I don't know, I think it was like the TV on with like the news behind us, and I was like, da 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 da. But it was all in Spanish, which I don't understand. But I'm just like, why is that? Why does that need to be here? You know, why does that noise need to be here? Plus the mariachi music, like going in, and then, you know, the people and everything. And I liked being out there, you know, out with him, but I was ready to go. Like after being there for an hour, I'm like, okay, I gotta get out of here. If I hadn't drank the pina colada that was this big and this big around, it was like a giant like beer stein full of pina colada, I'm not even sure I would have made it that long. By the end of the hour, I started to feel like, okay, I can do this, but I still want to get out of here. And now I'm not feeling as bad, but I want to leave. So I forgot a spot. I have to go back and grab it real quick. Yes, no, it doesn't. You're not wrong. Definitely not. And probably Mexican wasn't the best choice. I just happened to really like it, and it was technically my birthday, even if it wasn't, you know, really a monumental day. I was like, at least I'll go out to eat and get what I want. So it was just another Monday. It was just another tragic Monday. It really was. But thankfully, because it was my brother's birthday, I had an excuse to go out to eat, because his birthday's on the 10th. So then it was like, it kind of felt like I was celebrating my birthday, even though we were technically celebrating really his birthday. He brought me gifts though, so, you know, it was like a joint celebration. And I was grateful, because otherwise my day might have been kind of too sad for me to think about. Oh yeah, definitely. What's your favorite? I love the, my favorite Mexican food, besides like just rice and beans, like simple rice and beans, the Mexican style rice and beans. My favorite is tamales. My grandmother grew up in, I think, Laredo, Texas, and she learned how to make tamales. Like she would have the meat all like in the cookers, and the corn stuff that she would roll out and wrap them up in the husks, the what do you call the corn paste or whatever, I forget, but anyways, masa maybe. And oh my gosh, love tamales. She would make them homemade every single time that she came to visit. And when I finally realized I could get them again, like certain Mexican restaurants had them, I was so excited, because I never learned how to make them from her before she passed away, which is too bad. I didn't spend as much time with her in my adult life as I should have, and I missed out on some good things from her. So one day I'll have to like learn how to make tamales in her honor. Oh, sorry. Yes. Uh-oh. Now, if you're going to be listening to me talk, I'm probably going to talk food on occasion. I do like to eat. I really do. I used to be a heavy girl, and I lost like 80 pounds, and I don't believe in completely like going without food that you like. So I definitely like food. I just try to be really moderate and thoughtful over the long haul. And plus, I drink a lot more water than I used to, which really helps. I don't drink a billion calories like I used to. That was a big problem for me. I was a big time calorie drinker. Loved my Mountain Dew. Loved my Dr. Pepper. Loved root beer, you know. And then I realized, like, I'm drinking a body's weight in calories every day, and I need to stop doing that. That was definitely a big problem. They monitor, you know, cigarettes and beer, but they don't monitor soda. But I think one day they'll find that the soda was as bad, if not worse, than those things, which is hard to believe, honestly. But, and I'm sitting here drinking wine. I'm not saying you shouldn't have an alcoholic beverage. I'm just saying, you know, your body's ability to process a lot of that stuff is really overrated, we'll just say. Your body really doesn't want to process a ton of that garbage. It should be in minimal amounts, really. So I do try to eat like more whole foods, more healthy, more natural. Cook a lot of stuff from scratch. Oh, there you go. Yes, it is. The sugar is so bad for you. That's exactly what it is. These drinks have so much sugar in them. It's ridiculous. Yeah, I was drinking I wasn't drinking diet soda. No. I was drinking straight up sugary laden everything. I was not aware of how bad that was for you back in my 20s, and after I had my daughter, I just blew up, and it took me several years to lose the weight, actually, but I did, and now I try to maintain. And now I still drink a root beer now and then. I do like my root beer still a lot. I don't drink any more Mountain Dew, but occasionally I have a root beer, and they actually make decent diet root beers that are not terrible. And I don't want to drink them every day, but you know, once in a while, I don't mind. The diet has a little bit of an aftertaste, but not terrible, I guess. Oh, thank you. Oh, really? Yeah. See, I was hearing that too. I started to get much more healthy when I was eating a lot less sugar. The way I lost the weight was I went on a more ketogenic diet because my dad had gotten diagnosed with diabetes and he had to like cut carbs and cut sugars and all that. So it was just like at the same time that I was like, well, I need to lose weight and you have diabetes, and so like I don't want to get diabetes, you know. And so I ended up learning how to make all kinds of like really amazing sugar-free stuff and keto stuff. I became the queen of cheesecakes. I learned how to make all kinds of cheesecakes because that's really very, very keto friendly. um, so I did that a lot and learned how to make like all different kinds of veggies and salads and different things like that that are keto friendly. And I for the most part eat like, whoa, a ladybug just landed on my head. What are you doing there, friend? Okay. There's like 2 feet of snow outside and it's bitter cold. I have no idea where that came from and I have no idea where he went off to. That's so funny. I wonder if that means anything. Does it mean anything if a ladybug comes and lands on you in the dead of winter and then flies off and disappears? Is it significant? Is there significance to a ladybug? You know how they say like cardinals or monarchs or whatever, their significance? Is there significance to a ladybug landing on you or being in your space? We see them a lot in the fall. Like they'll all pile up in the windowsills and stuff, but gosh, I haven't seen a live one in forever. Weeks, months. It's been so cold here. That was just shocking. Oh, good luck. And thank you. I appreciate you saying I look fabulous. I appreciate that. I don't feel like I look fabulous, but I appreciate that. I look at all the influencers. I try not to look at the influencers, but I look at them and I'm like, because I don't wear makeup, because I don't care. Like, seriously, I don't care. When I'm flipping through and I see people saying like, oh, I'm sorry I didn't put my face on. I'm like, it's attached. I don't put it on. And I'm not gonna. I will take the time I have to paint my face and paint on a canvas. And because I've been painting since I was so young, makeup really does seem like paint to me. I can't see it for anything other than that. And so I have a really hard time wearing any makeup. I haven't worn makeup in years and years at this point. I used to occasionally wear like mascara and lip gloss, and I don't care, really. I don't. I'm never mistaken with no hair and no makeup. I'm never mistaken for anything but what I am, so I seem to pull it off okay. I cut my own hair too, so my own style, my own hair, my own, this is all me, 100% me. Whew. Yes, very good luck. Okay, good. I needed it because like I said, I had a rough birthday and I was feeling sad, so trying to pick myself up. You can't live in sadness forever. You gotta move on. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to pick myself up and say, hey, girl, you got this. It may feel bad right now, but you got it. Everybody's going through something in life, you know? They say be kind because you don't know what somebody's going through. And man, when you're going through something, isn't that more true than you ever thought, huh? Sometimes it's weird. I remember someone really close to my family passed away, and it was like a sunny spring day going to the funeral home, and there were people like out playing tennis by the YMCA's we were driving by. It's like the motorcade or whatever you call it. It's driving by. And there were little kids playing and, you know, stuff like that. And I remember, and people at the basketball court, the sun shining, gorgeous, like green everywhere. And I remember thinking like, how is everybody still doing all this with this happening, you know? It seems so surreal to me that the world just literally keeps on keeping on in spite of whatever losses people are experiencing. It's really an interesting social thing, you know? It makes you feel like almost like invisible, you know? Like, is this really happening? This is one of the darkest days of my life, and yet the sun is shining, and people are enjoying their families and their time, and yeah, it's just bizarre. So sometimes I feel like if you're going through a bad time, that you feel kind of invisible because the people around you are, you know, seemingly just going about their day and, you know, whatever. But then you don't know what kind of bad time they're going through behind closed doors. So for all I know, it's no different. They just are wondering inside of their own minds how everyone else is going about their day. I know the world's very chaotic right now, and it does seem weird that the days are just going on the same as if it's not weird. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. That is very sweet. Yeah, the world is getting weirder by the day. I was asking my friend, the one who lives out in Florida, has it always been this way? Am I losing my mind that it feels like there is big, huge, crazy news every day? I don't remember it being quite like this. Like, you might have some kind of spectacle or some kind of mass event or whatever, and it would be on the news for a few days or maybe even a few weeks. And then it seemed like everything would settle down and they're, you know, quiet down and you wouldn't be hearing about much. And then, you know, maybe down the road in several months or maybe a year or 2 years. That's, you know, when I was younger. Now it feels like every day. Every day. It's just crazy. Either it was always that way and I just wasn't aware, maybe, or it's that crazy. I don't know. It doesn't add to my sense of like stability though. I definitely feel like shook up from the state of the entire planet being so despondent. And I think it's fair game to say that no matter who you agree with or disagree with, the state of the world is despondent right now. It's hard to not be somewhat just, you know, worried for the state of everything. All of it is terrifying, really. All of it is terrifying. This is working for these tiny spots somehow. I don't know how. But it is. This fatty. Let's see. It looks like I have this area. At least the colors are different enough where I can see what I'm doing. Sometimes it's hard to see the second coat because the colors are so close together. I think I'm chatty when I work because I taught like in venues for so long. I got used to just being chatty when I didn't just teach, I would do a lot of demos, like just live demos. And so I got used to like making art and talking at the same time. And now it's just second nature because I'm trying to think when I started doing demos. Probably like, I was like in my early 20s, so that's like 25-ish years ago, right? 28. Am I really that old? Wow. My friend texted me the other day, who was my mom's best friend, so she's older than me. And she said, "You can't be 50, can you?" And I said, "I am." I said, "Naomi's 25. I had her when I was 25, and she's 25, so unless my math is wrong." I mean, I'll double check, but I think so. She got me thinking for a minute, like, am I wrong? Wait a minute. A miracle has happened. I'm suddenly only 42. I wish. Sometimes I would go right back to being 42 and kind of do things over again, but I'm where I'm at, so can't really do much about that. But I would make a lot of different choices for sure. I wouldn't have focused, for one, so much on education that I didn't want to use, actually. I just thought I could do something better than being an artist, and so I decided to go into like the medical field because that's what my parents kind of had done. And so I thought I would do the same thing, and then I thought I would like save the world doing psychology, and it ended up just being really bad for me. So yeah, I got rid of my savior complex, thank goodness, in that way, but sometimes I still have it in my personal life, and that's usually damaging to me. I'm trying to put down the savior complex. Yeah, in the Just Jenny Lee that I posted, which is let them touch grass. That is me trying to embrace that I can't save people. I can't. I had someone say that to me yesterday when I was talking to my friends who were with me for the day, helping me get through some things. They said, you can't save them. You can't save them. You can't. And that hurt me. I mean, because really, like, I want nothing more than to save the people I love. But then again, I can't do it for them, There are people who are going to make bad choices, and it's not, you can't change their choice. So I wish I could, though, because when you love somebody and you see them going down a destructive path, you just want to say, hey, wait. But you can't always do it. You can't always stop them. So that makes me disappointed. It makes me disappointed in myself, too. Oh, interesting. Yes. You always feel like you're 23, 28. You're 58. Okay. Well, I have that same kind of thing, where I always feel like I'm sort of in my 20s as well, which is weird because I know like the younger generations get very offended at the thought that we think we're younger. I don't think I look younger at all. It's just that your brain doesn't age the same way as you get older as it does when you're younger. I think when you're younger, you're aware of your growing and changing in years. And then you hit a point where your brain isn't really changing anymore. And so even though your body's changing, your brain is kind of like developed. And so you still feel the same age as when your brain kind of is like done being fully developed. I'm not saying you don't grow neurons or anything at all, but I do think that there's like a point where it's all like your brain sort of has arrived, and you kind of feel like that particular age forever. I definitely feel like I'm sort of 25 forever. That was the year I had my daughter, and that was the year I bought a house and all this stuff, and I definitely don't feel 50, I'll tell you that. This color's not bad. It's probably not as opaque as I had hoped, because I can still see like some of the residual of the previous color, which is darker than I should have made it. And now I'm like looking at this thing, is that the right color? I don't know. I will have to sleep on it, but I will get the first coat done, or the second coat done before I do that. Then tomorrow's third coat can be even tweaked more if I really feel like it needs to be. Although I don't know. It's not bad. Because I don't love the color itself. The color looks Band-Aid-y to me, sort of, for some reason. So I'm not sure. A little bit Band-Aid vibe. My husband and I were hired one time to paint an entire house, different colors than it was. It was all like plain, bland, white, whatever. And they picked all these lovely colors, but then in the bathroom, they chose like the Band-Aid-iest color. And it was like, no, that doesn't even go with anything. It's just ugly. But no, they loved it. It's the hard part about being a refinisher is you'll disagree with people's decisions, and there's not much you can do about it. So then you're stuck painting a massive room, like a hideous color that you would never choose. It's a beautiful room, and it would be a beautiful paint job, but unfortunately, it's like, a hideous color. There was a long time period where we were like painting a house. Houses all gray, but like different versions of gray. And this was a blue gray, and this was a warm gray, and this was a pale gray, and it was like, because I'm a person who loves color. That was probably the most depressing part, besides the fact that my husband and I didn't seem to be friends anymore working together, was everybody painted everything gray. So that's probably when his depression started. Because he lived in a gray world and everything was gray. And mind you, I wasn't loving it either. But I can come in the studio and it really brightens me up. So I'll try to get him in here, but that doesn't always work, so. Sometimes he is just too meh, so. What are you gonna do? He has his own things, I guess. And he's gotta do what works for him to keep him sane. And art is what keeps me sane. Or at least most of the time. Because man, that Just Ducky painting over there is not making me sane, and I just went over the line. So yeah, it doesn't always make me sane. That painting back there has kind of been driving me crazy. I haven't loved it. Could you add a darker blue for contrast? I very well could. I'm not. This may not be dark enough. So you're not wrong about that. I was trying to keep that shift kind of subtle, like it was water almost, with like some kind of fiery colors on top of it. I'm not sure. I often have to get the colors all down first, and then I go back in and tweak them. This painting here, I had gone through all the colors, and I went back at the very end and tweaked the brightest yellow because it was not really bright enough, and the contrast, like we're talking about, wasn't strong enough. Of course, it was disappointing because I felt like the painting was done. I had done all the line work, the marker work was done, and I thought, oh, this is in the bag. But the yellow was honestly just too rich. It was too dark and too close to the other one. And now that I brightened it up, it pops off the canvas a lot better. So I didn't want to do it, but it's worth doing if I don't feel it in my gut. My gut kind of will tell me. It's usually helpful for me to check out my stuff in the daytime, because even though I have a ton of lights set up in here, it's a little different to have like the daylight coming in the window. But I do have this place lit up like a Christmas tree. You almost can't really tell the difference during the day. Because I'm blind. I'm blind as a bat. Really, it's bad. That's why my face is up against the canvas. But unfortunately, readers don't work. Like, I have really crystal clear vision when I'm this close. But when I put on readers, it's like slightly fuzzy. So I don't know. They don't really work for me. These are my distance glasses, so I can see, you know, far away. But they don't help me see up close. They make it very fuzzy up close. And readers kind of do the same thing. It's just my weird stigmatism that I have. And there's not much I can do. And they told me if I get the LASIK, the surgery, that I will completely lose my close-up vision. And then they say, well, you could just wear reader. In that case, the readers would work for you. And I say, okay, but I would have to wear them all the time, and I hate wearing glasses. So I don't usually wear glasses to work on whatever I'm working on. So for the most part, I don't really need my glasses unless I'm driving, or I can even get around my house really without them. For the most part, as long as people didn't put stuff on the floor in my way. For the most part, I can get around because I have everything like memorized. And that way I can like get by in life without wearing glasses too much, because I hate wearing them. They give me terrible headaches. And I cannot wear contacts either, because I have an eye condition that doesn't, that like sucks the moisture out, and it doesn't matter what type of contacts they give me and what drops and what they do. It's just aggravatingly painful throughout the whole day. The glasses are less uncomfortable than contacts. So I just try to wear them as little as possible, which is why you always see them like sitting next to me, because I do wear them to get around sort of sometimes. I tend to leave them on my face if I leave the house, because then everything's so unfamiliar. Well, I appreciate you being here listening to me talk about my process. My process is not super interesting at the beginning of my little YouTube journey here, but it's going to get more interesting the more I come out of my shell and reveal more of my work and my teaching, especially with the watercolors. So I am looking forward to that. It's been a little bit of a rough start because I'm having to learn how to overcome and navigate just, you know, difficulties of life, plus the panic attacks that I deal with and things, and try to maintain consistency. So I really feel like this year will be a journey into maintaining consistency when it doesn't feel like I can. I'm finding that friends are super helpful in that, and I'm finding that creating a YouTube community has been helpful because it makes me actually really motivated to get online, to post. I have someone like you talking to me, and I don't then feel like I'm alone in my studio, which sometimes I do. I feel like I'm alone in my studio a lot. I'm here every day, even weekends most of the time, doing some kind of work, and I tend to spend pretty much every day by myself. So if I'm exclusively by myself, it can be discouraging. And I realized when I can get on the live stream that I can just hang out, and eventually I may find someone to talk to like yourself. So it's been a lovely evening because of that, and I very much appreciate your company. It's made an otherwise lonely evening a lot more pleasant. So I do hope that you'll come around to more of my to my live streams, because you're a lovely individual to hang out with. I'm almost done with this last spot. I have been, this particular one I'm going around the edges. I like to paint the edges just because it's an easy way to display any of my artwork without having to worry about framing it. So I have a custom framing certification, and I used to do a lot of custom framing, which is why that one's ripped apart, because I wanted to clean the glass and photograph the piece and all that. And I just got tired of doing it. Custom framing is exhausting and tiring, just demanding. I don't like doing it anymore. I loved it in my 20s. I even liked it kind of into my 30s, but in my 40s, I grew to hate it. So now I work hard at trying to create artwork that doesn't need to worry about it. Though not all of it. I can't get away with all of it being completely not, like, there are definitely pastels and other types of things, watercolors, that need to be under glass. So I think, oh, you know what? No, there's a few spots I missed on the very bottom edge, and they're dinky. They're little tiny spots, but they need a little bit of paint in them though. So sorry, they're not visible to you because they're right on the edge. The pattern like crisscrosses on the edge of the canvas, which is pretty funny. I didn't have to actually probably do that, but it's here, so I'm gonna paint it in. Check out Picasso. I have a clock. It makes me think of like a cuckoo clock. It's got like the thing swinging. It's a cat in bright colors, and he's got like his tail swinging with like a little palette on the bottom. And I can't see him, so I have no idea what time it is right now. I can't see the iPad, so I have no idea what time it is or how long I've been on this live stream for. Let's see, it says 114 minutes. That's almost 2 hours. Wow. Oh, is it really almost 10 o'clock? Gosh. Well, see, I really appreciate you, Mary, because you helped me to get through a crappy evening, and I made more artwork with you than I would have made without you, so that's not terrible. And you're not wrong about the blue needing a deeper contrast. That could be a thing for tomorrow too. So yeah, I think that's probably what I'm gonna do for tonight in the studio. I might go soak in the tub, and like I said, Our Island Life, if you haven't checked that out, that's really cute. I started it right from the beginning, right from when they got to the island, and well, not their first year. They went there for a year. then they left and went to Europe, home for a while, and then they went back and they started their journey with like how they were building their house and all this cool stuff. So that's kind of my latest binge right now. Clean off my palette knives here, stick them in the water. And I might have a little bit more of that Moscato left. If I check, I bet I do. I have to drink my wine on ice. I'm sorry, I'm a baby. I don't drink red wine at all. It's very bitter and yucky to me. And I have to drink everything ice cold because in my heart, I can't talk tonight. In my heart, I'm a Southern girl, and in the South, you use a lot of ice. All right, so that will keep my paint like wet for the night until tomorrow. If I want to come down and like add another coat in the morning. And then, you know, I don't think you're totally wrong. You can't see the contrast as, whoops, ugh, I just messed that up. Silly me. You can't see the contrast as much on the screen as you can in person, but that's still concerning because it means that you won't be able to see it as well, like if I post it online for prints or whatever. So I do think it matters that it's a little bit not, there's not as much contrast as I would want, so yeah. All right, now that I just fixed what I messed up. Now that I take my last sip here. And cheers, and thank you for hanging out with me. I appreciate you, and I hope you have a really fantastic rest of your evening. And I will be back tomorrow afternoon for more artwork, and maybe I will work on the watercolors. So I will catch you next time.